What is going on, guys? It is the Short Sports Show. I am your host, Daniel Short. Today is Friday the 14th, 2015. I am excited. How about you guys? Finally, preseason football. We've had it. We've got the taste. Obviously, the Hall of Fame game was earlier, and that was fun. That was a good taste of what's going to happen this season. But a whole lot more. And last night was just the cream of the crop in some of those games. The Cowboys and Chargers showing off Randy Gregory, Melvin Gordon, La'el Collins. I mean, that just had a good group right there of rookies coming in. What's gonna be like come September, and so many other games, including Jimmy Garoppolo, how he's gonna take the starting job for the New England Patriots. I mean, so many things. In just a short amount of time, and it was amazing to be able to catch some of those games. Thank the Lord for Verizon, because I didn't know how I was going to be able to watch the game, because I was at work, and I was like, all right, well, I don't have Time Warner, don't have Dish, don't have Direct, don't have cable, ladies and gentlemen. This is hard to do a sports talk show when you got to go place to place to watch some games. But hey, I am dedicated to this job, and that is the way we're going to have to do it. But thankfully, Verizon, you have it on your phone, NFL Network, so you're able to catch it. And thankfully, DirecTV now has a thing where you can watch the NFL Sunday Ticket without hooking it up, all this other good stuff. They don't pay me for advertising, so I'm not going to give out the whole information. But if anybody is with DirecTV and you would like advertising on the show, let me know. I'll do it. But anyways, guys, a whole lot of great, exciting news around football and the show overall, as this show is continuing to grow. We are now a part, again, with Stitcher Radio, which is a huge accomplishment for the Short Sports Show. And it's all thanks to you guys. I mean, without anybody listening, I wouldn't be on anything other than Spreaker. Spreaker's free. Anybody can do anything. But thanks to you guys, I'm with iHeartRadio, iTunes, and now Stitcher Radio. It's a incredible opportunity. And again, thank you guys so very much. I also have other news, which I'll get into midway through the show to keep you guys sticking around. Sorry. But anyways, follow me on Twitter at @short_sports 24/7. All the other links are down below in the description, no matter where you're listening, what you're listening on, whether it's your phone, computer, tablet, anything and everything. The description below has all the links to Facebook, Twitter, and the other sources you can listen and download today's podcast, along with the past, others. So let's get on with it, people. NCAA college football news first, and that is the huge impact we got with college football and the playoff ranking system. They have announced when it will be announced come this season. The first college football playoff ranking of 2015 season will be announced at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on November 3rd on ESPN. And then the final ranking, which is where it all comes down to, and hopefully we don't have a repeat for us TCU fans of last season. The final rankings will be revealed December 6th, which was released on Thursday from the College Football Playoff Committee. And then the final top 25, along with the semifinal pairings and matchups for the New Year's 6 Bowls, will be announced at noon Eastern on December 6th on ESPN. So the final ranking on December 6th, that is when we will get either really good news for some people and really bad news for others, like what happened this season. I don't like to talk about it too much, even though I bring it up sometimes, and I just need people to know what I went through and the pain and suffering. So me and my dad, I was like, you know what, Dad, I feel so confident right now TCU's going to make it. And I was like, you know what? It's on me. Let's go to Texas Roadhouse, and let's go watch it over there. He was like, all right. We got some steaks, got everything. And as we're waiting for our food, of course, it comes up. And we didn't know how they were going to reveal it. We thought maybe they go from 25 up until the Final Four. But they went, boom, right ahead. Let's just announce the top four. And 1, 2, 3 went. I was like, all right, that's okay. That's solid. All right, we'll go 4. We'll go play Alabama. That's fine. And then, pow, Ohio State just smacks us right across the face. And I was like, oh, cool. And then the worst slap of all was how they had Baylor ahead of TCU. Oh, man, that's when I was like, all right, I'm not even hungry anymore. No, we still had a good time. It was a little sad, but I was excited to see who TCU was going to play. But anyways, December 6th, noon Eastern on ESPN is when the final rankings will be revealed for the college football playoffs. And the first rankings of the college football playoff will be revealed at 7:30 Eastern Time, November 3rd on ESPN. Virginia wide receiver T.J. Thorpe will be out 10 weeks after breaking his right clavicle during a scrimmage Wednesday afternoon, the school announced. Thorpe transferred to Virginia in the spring semester after playing 3 seasons at North Carolina. He's had 42 career receptions for 574 yards and 5 touchdowns, though he missed the 2012 season with a broken foot. So bad news for Virginia as they're looking to, have some offensive weapons. And one of the guys that was supposed to be that starting wide receiver, their go-to receiver, is now out for 10 weeks. Another starting receiver that's back after a 5-day absence is Auburn wide receiver Duke Williams. He had a 5-day absence due to discipline issues, and Auburn head coach Gus Malzahn allowed the receiver, Duke Williams, to rejoin the team, saying, quote, obviously there's some catching up to do. We've got guys who have been to practice that may feel good about, and he's in the process of playing catch-up. He's at the bottom of the depth chart, and he's going to have to earn his way back. He understands that. Now, Williams last season with the Tigers had 45 catches, 730 yards last season, and it was preseason first-team All-SEC selection. He had missed the last 5 days, again, due to discipline issues, and he did very little, apparently, to the report in practice coming back on Thursday. Again, this is what Malzahn had to say, saying, quote, he's in the process every day of earning his coaches and teammates' respect. Now, Malzahn did decline to specify what Williams was required to do to get back on the team, and it was also vague about how much Williams would play, if at all, in the opener against Louisville, saying, quote, he's taking care of what he needed to do right now, but he understands the severity of where he's at. So it's looking like, Malzahn's doing a really good job here, depending, because, again, it was discipline issues, and not a whole lot was given to that. But, most coaches, especially with a top receiver, they would be like, all right, have a little absence, do a little, the hard work, and the hard work drills during practice, but then you're going to be lining up with the ones and twos, and that's about it. No, he's pushing them all the way down, saying, you know what, you got to earn not only the respect of everybody else, you're going to have to earn your spot back on this team and back to where you were, supposed to be on the first and second string. Huge deal, and he's very serious about it. So much respect to Gus Malzahn and the Auburn Tigers staff and what they're doing to enforce the players and saying, hey, you screw up, you really screw up, and you're going to have to earn your spot back here. I like that. I know it sounds common sense, but we know, how many times have we heard people getting in trouble and still being able to practice like nothing ever happened or play like nothing ever happened? Good job for Gus Malzahn and his staff. UCLA head coach Jim Mora has made a big financial donation to the program to help the football trainings complex, the school says. UCLA publicized what is, quote, a major personal financial commitment by Jim Mora on Thursday, though the school did not give the amount of which he donated. But they did say Mora's donation is the largest by a sitting head coach in UCLA history. The school will break ground for the Wasserman Football Center on campus on August 27th of this year. UCLA is within $10 million of its overall fundraising goal for the facility announced late in 2013. So it could be around that range, but that's huge for Jim Mora to be able to do that all on his own. Jim Mora is 29-11 in 3 seasons at UCLA, winning more games in a 3-year stretch than any Bruins coach in UCLA history. Huge thing by him because obviously at the end of every season, Jim Mora's name comes up. Obviously he was a head coach with the Seattle Seahawks and another team. I want to say Redskins, but I could be completely off and I don't want to say that. So forget that I said that. Unless it was right, then yeah, that's what I meant. But I know he's with the Seahawks. And he's always been connected to other coaching jobs around the country and college football, as well as the NFL. And he is stuck by saying, no, UCLA is my dream job. This is where I want to be. It's working out for him. And obviously they're getting better at recruiting due to the success they've had in the 3 years there. And they're building something at UCLA. So I don't blame him. I mean, you're in a great spot. You're in Los Angeles. You have the head coaching job. You're winning. You're recruiting right, and you're getting better facilities. I mean, he's doing everything, taking all the right steps to get this program back to what it used to be back in the top when they were in the rankings in the top 10. He's doing an excellent job there. So great job by Jim Mora, and also being able to donate what looks like more than $10 million of his own money. Huge. Notre Dame will be wearing all green for its Shamrock Series against Boston College at Fenway Park on November 21st this season. Under Armour, the school's shoe and apparel partner, revealed the uniform combination Thursday morning. The uniform has 11 breaks on the Notre Dame solid stripe on the helmet and pant leg to call the attention to the team's 11 national titles. The helmet will be the traditional gold, but will feature a blue and green stripe down in the middle, and a leprechaun on one side. Now, for between Notre Dame and Boston College, this is a 23rd matchup, and Notre Dame leads the series 13-9. I was mixed up there. Whoa. Notre Dame leads the series 13-9 and has won the past 4 games. Before that, though, Boston College had won 6 in a row. Now, Boston College also teased uniforms for the game Thursday morning. Its uniform, also made by Under Armour, is paying tribute to the 1984 team that became famous for Doug Flutie's Hail Mary pass. The game between the rivals will be the first football game at Fenway Park since December 1st of 1961, when the Patriots, who played there for 5 years, played their last home game there before moving to another temporary home in Boston College. So, huge deal. For people on YouTube, you are seeing, unless you're listening to the audio version, then obviously you're not seeing it. But for the video version of this, you are seeing the uniforms. And I would love to hear what you guys think, whether you're Notre Dame fans or not, on the uniforms. Now, me personally, I never understand Notre Dame's spot on why they're wearing blue, green, and then gold. I don't know. It's weird. But I do like the uniform. I really do. I think it's a very nice uniform. It brings, some. I like it. But I don't know what else to say. It's a nice uniform. They're keeping the traditional gold, which is obviously the most important thing. And the green. I mean, I don't necessarily don't like it. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I mean, what they did with it, I think they made the best combination they could with that. So, good job by Under Armour and Notre Dame. Great news for Oregon Ducks fans across the country. It has happened. The long-awaited process of this, which really shouldn't have been, but it did, and it all worked out. Quarterback Vernon Adams completed his graduate transfer to Oregon on Thursday and will report to the Ducks fall camp after completing his final academic requirement from Eastern Washington University. Oregon tweeted Thursday night that Adams had been added to the team's roster, and Adams was expected to be on campus in June, working out with the team and beginning his quest for the starting quarterback job left by Marcus Mariota. However, Adams was unable to join the team until he passed a math class, which he announced via Instagram that he completed Thursday, saying, quote, "Thank God," add a few emojis in there, and then hashtag EWU alum, hashtag Go Ducks, hashtag can't even speak, too many hashtags. Time to get to work. Now, without passing this class, had he failed the test, which was a math test, oh yeah, I've already said that, Adams would not have been eligible to become a graduate student and couldn't have joined the Oregon Ducks team for the 2015 season, and he also could not have returned to Eastern Washington because their head coach told reporters on Wednesday that he was not allowed to, Vernon Adams was not allowed to play football or come back to EWU and play for them. I understand it from the coaching point because it's like, hey, you wanted to leave, whatever, so we don't want you, especially they're going to play Oregon and stuff. He just didn't want to deal with all that, which makes sense. It's not like he was being, a prick or anything, saying, no, I don't like you anymore, being bitter and stuff like that. No, it's just like, hey, we got to move on with the team we got, and that's it. Now, the Pac-12 has long been aware of Vernon Adams and his capability, what he can do to opposing Pac-12 defenses. And now in 2013, Adams led Eastern Washington to a season-opening win over Oregon State, which was ranked at that time, which I believe was like 19 or something, which he threw for 4 touchdowns and 411 yards and rushed for 2 touchdowns and 107 yards. He followed that with a 2014 performance against the Washington Huskies, in which he threw for 7 touchdowns, along with 475 yards, and nearly upset the Huskies in Seattle. Unbelievable what Vernon Adams can do with an FCS talent group of guys. Imagine what he's going to do with Oregon Ducks. If he can get it all together, if he can learn this playbook quick, and take those reps and really execute them, it's going to be I don't know. Oregon, woo, got me speechless. I'm a huge fan of Vernon Adams. I was really excited when he decided to go to Oregon and not pick Texas, because that was pretty scary, because he could have picked Texas as well. I was really excited that he picked Oregon and what they can do. But the job is not going to be handed to him whatsoever. They have Jeff Locke, who's been a long-time backup of Mariota, and apparently Jeff Lockheed's had a great spring for the Ducks and continued to lead the team through off-season workouts and the first part of camp. Head coach Mark Helfrich said at the Pac-12 Media Days that, quote, "I have total confidence in Jeff 100%. The players do too, and that is probably the most important part." Adams has a very short amount of time to get this down and take the starting job. Every single day literally matters. Every hour matters. Learning the playbook, getting in the film room, and getting those reps in. Oregon plays their first game hosting Adams' former team, EWU, Eastern Washington, on September 5th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Pac-12 Network. Oh, it's going to be a good one. It is going to be a great one. If Vernon Adams starts that game, if he wins the starting job, that's when you know he's really good, first of all. If he's able to go in there after all the stress he had to go through to get all this crap done, if he's able to, in that short amount of time, to get everything down that I said earlier and win the starting job, then you know he's good. Because Jeff Locke, this is his job to lose. His job to win, whatever. Jeff Locke should have this down. If he can't win the starting job versus Vernon Adams, and not because of injury or academics or off-the-field issues, if he can't win the starting job over Vernon Adams, Vernon Adams is pretty damn good to get this starting job. So for Oregon Ducks fans, you got to feel confident either way, because either Jeff Locke held it down against a pretty solid competition and was able to win the starting job, and you feel confident moving forward. If Vernon Adams gets the starting job, then you got to be really confident knowing all of that in that short amount of time was able to still get the starting job and be able to go out there and compete. So very great news for Oregon, and man, September 5th can't come fast enough. Tennessee Volunteers head coach Butch Jones had said that he expects wide receiver Marquez North to be practicing within a week after suffering a leg injury. Saying, quote, "He's going to be fine. We expect him to be back in a week. He's progressing right now." North, a junior, started the first 10 games for the Vols last season before missing the final 3 games with a shoulder injury. The 6'3" North Carolina native was freshman All-SEC selection in 2013, and also Tennessee was ranked 25th in the coaches poll, and will begin the season, of course, on September 5th against Bowling Green. So a huge weapon for Tennessee, and moving forward with Joshua Dobbs. A lot of hype going around for Tennessee. A lot of hype, and the good type of hype for them, and what the impact they can make on the SEC and the rise of Tennessee from the late 90s. It's finally back for Tennessee, and I hope they do well. I like them. USC, Southern California, the Trojans, cleared former tight end Bryce Dixon to re-enroll Thursday, but he said he would not be reinstated to play after Los Angeles Superior Court judge, doesn't matter what his name, ruled to put his expulsion on hold. Dixon did not take part in the Trojans' spring practices because of a student conduct issue that involved a sexual assault investigation. Shortly after, it was revealed that Dixon was no longer enrolled at the university, saying, quote, USC has revealed the judge's written order staying Bryce Dixon expulsion from the university pending further review by the court. We will comply with the court's orders and allow Mr. Dixon to re-enroll in the university immediately. Dixon has been in a meeting with USC officials during the summer in an attempt to regain admittance to the university and rejoin the team. Dixon even stopped by a Trojans recruiting camp in June and was greeted warmly by former teammates and coaches. Now, last season, as a true freshman, Dixon caught 14 passes and had 4 touchdowns. But USC is also waiting to see if redshirt junior tight end Jalen Cope Fitzpatrick achieved the necessary academic marks over the summer semester to rejoin the team, as he missed the 2014 season because of academics, but returned to take part in spring drills, where he shared first-team reps with walk-on Connor Spears. So, somewhat, optimistic news for USC and what they can do with the tight end position. But it seems like a lot of players not getting their academics done during the summer. I mean, come on, guys. Come on. Especially when you're at a big school. You got to get this done. Playing football there. All right. So what I'm about to tell you next, this next thing, it's not a big story, but it does kind of bring hope to what can be a tradition for Thanksgiving. Obviously, we know the Texas A&M and Texas game. Too many big egos over there, too many crybabies to play that game on Thanksgiving, the tradition that was supposed to be. That, we don't know when that's going to happen. It will happen at some point. It's just whenever they, stop being crybabies. But we have a new game. We have a new one, a new series that will partake on Thursday nights on Thanksgiving. It will be, drum roll please. I don't have a drum roll sound effect. I'm all out of music, so I have a little interview thing, so I can't really play it, but, I'll get to just do it in your head, whatever. University of South Florida and University of Central Florida have moved their game to Thursday night, to Thanksgiving Day night. The game will be played in Orlando and will be televised by ESPN. This is what AAC commissioner had to say, saying, quote, we are excited to have USF at UCF game on Thanksgiving evening to kick off a rivalry week. It is fitting that this outstanding rivalry game will be played in prime time on Thanksgiving and available to a national ESPN audience. I kind of like it. I know these are smaller schools. I mean, big schools, and if you want to look at attendance-wise, but in football, looking at it, small schools. I like it. I think a good Florida rivalry on a Thanksgiving game, Thanksgiving Day game, I think would be very nice. Now, of course, since we don't have the Texas A&M game, I would like to see maybe like a Miami-Florida game that night, or Miami-Florida State. If they would have moved it, to that. That would be really cool, to have that. That's never been, but, just throwing it out there, if we're going to just move games around, that would be pretty cool. But hopefully Texas and Texas A&M can get back together and play on Thanksgiving Day. I mean, I like the TCU-Texas game on Thanksgiving, but, even as a TCU fan, I know it's not the same. And I hate playing that game just because it's like, it's not the same, and I want people looking at TCU weird, like we wanted to play them on Thanksgiving. That's all Texas. I mean, Texas wants to play either Texas Tech or TCU on Thanksgiving instead of A&M. It's weird. Very weird. Anyways, moving on. Syracuse and Wisconsin. We're talking so much college football news. We're almost to the NFL, guys. Don't worry. Syracuse and Wisconsin announced Thursday that their two football programs have signed on for a future home-and-home series. The Orange will visit the Badgers on September 12th in 2020 in Madison, Wisconsin, and with Wisconsin returning to their first ever trip to the Carrier Dome on September 11th, 2021. The teams have met each other 5 times in football, with the first meeting coming in 1941 and the last meeting in 1997 at the Old Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Syracuse holds an edge of 3-1-1 in the all-time series. Weird. LSU wide receiver saves a woman in a trapped car. Awesome story here. Check this out. Travin Durrell helped rescue a woman who was trapped in her overturned SUV. Durrell and his cousin, who attends Southern University and is a wide receiver, his name is Randall Menard, happened upon an unnamed woman and found her in a Nissan SUV. Of course, it was upside down, and it was in a waterless ditch. From the report, this is what it had to say: both front doors were jammed, with the driver's side door crushed against the side wall of a 6-foot deep trench. She was hanging upside down from the driver's seat, incapable of reaching or opening the back doors, said one of the deputies that was there. Durrell, along with his cousin, Southern University receiver Randall Menard, pried open the rear passenger door and pulled out the woman from the vehicle. Durrell said, quote, "We had the muscle to open it up." The woman was not injured in the accident, and after officers responded to the scene, many of them recognized them and asked them to pose for photographs, which I thought was funny. It's like, in the most serious situation here, where a woman, you don't know her situation, just flipped over her car, you pulled her out, and then officers are like, "Oh, okay, yeah, what happened, blah, blah, blah. Oh, my God, is that the LSU receiver? Oh, hold up, wait a minute, let me go get a picture of him." I'm pretty sure they didn't happen that way, but I just think that's pretty funny that it might have happened that way. Durrell said it was a different experience, of course, and last season Durrell led the Tigers in receptions with 37 and receiving yards with 758 and receiving touchdowns with 7. He was also second in yards per catch with 20.5. Shortly after the end of the regular season, Durrell announced that he would be staying with the Tigers and not entering the NFL draft, which good news for LSU, even though they don't have a quarterback. So that tells you how much he loves LSU's, the campus, the university, everybody there, and the coaching staff and the experience. Because when you don't have a quarterback at all, and you still don't know who's going to be a starting quarterback, and you're risking your stats, you're playing how well you play, all on that for the NFL future. Tells you love the campus and you love the experience. So good job with him. For any players that are listening, I suggest that you mute me for the next 2 minutes, but then come right back, please. Really bad injury bug went around. On Twitter late Wednesday night, Michigan State announced in a series of tweets that Ed Davis had sustained a season-ending knee injury. The linebacker suffered the injury during Wednesday's practice, and an MRI determined that the surgery will be required to repair the injury. It was the first practice of summer camp in which the Spartans put on full pads. This is what the head coach Mark D'Antonio said to this. Quote, "We are so disappointed for Ed Davis, and his presence in the lineup will be missed. Ed is a tremendous playmaker and a solid leader. Our program has faced adversity before, so now it's time to adopt the next man up mentality. Ed's season-ending injury provides others with an opportunity to have a positive impact on this team." Davis, a fifth-year senior, said this might have the opportunity to qualify for a 6th season of eligibility, but losing him this year is the worst. I mean, it's a huge blow to Michigan State's defense, which has always been great, no matter who they have. But Michigan State believes this is the year they can, even though they're not being talked about to make the playoffs, or not as much as some of the other teams. This could be the year. Connor Cook, senior quarterback, they have him. He's been experienced, of course. That defense, Lee Calhoun, obviously, they believed Ed Davis, was going to be able to play. Injury took him out. they believe this was going to be the year, and they still believe. It's not like Ed Davis is a great player, leader of that defense, but it's not like him being out their playoff chances are gone. But this is huge, a huge blow. In the past 3 seasons, Davis started 12 and just 14. He was a key contributor in the past 3 seasons. I skipped that. But he did start 12 games in 2014. He was third on the team in tackles for loss with 12 and sacks with 7. He was a named honorable mention All Big Ten for his performance. So a huge loss. Clemson confirmed in a press release that Corn Wiggins has been diagnosed with a torn ACL. As a result, the defensive back has been ruled out for the entire 2015 season. Wiggins sustained the injury while he was attempting to recover a fumble during a situational scrimmage Wednesday morning. Last season, Wiggins started 6 games at cornerback for the Tigers and was just one of 4 returning defensive players who started more than six or more games in 2014. He is yet to redshirt, so he'll go ahead and redshirt this season. So next year, he will be a redshirt junior. After losing all 4 starting linebackers following the 2014 season, Maryland was looking at Abner Logan as a very likely replacement for one of those spots. Unfortunately, that is no longer. Head coach Randy Edsall announced Wednesday via Twitter that Logan sustained a torn ACL during a recent summer camp practice session that was a non-contact in nature, as the Terps have yet to put on any pads. As a result of the injury, of course, Logan will miss the entire 2015 season. Now, last year, he was suspended for the first 6 games by the university for unspecified reasons. He came back to play the final 7 games of the year, and in 2013, as a redshirt freshman, he started 4 of 12 games in which he played. Following a strong performance in spring practice this year, he entered camp as a favorite to be the start of one of those outside linebacker spots. So, huge losses, injury bug went around. And best of luck for those teams. Now we are moving on to the NFL. I know so many people wanted to, hear NFL. I'm here. There's just a lot of college football news, which is good. It's good that we have a mix of both. I love that because that's what this show, its foundation is on. We don't talk too much baseball or NBA stuff like that. We talk tons of football, and so I'm glad that we have a mix of both. Now, let's go ahead and get on with it. Chicago Bears head coach John Fox waited until the team's preseason debut Thursday night to reveal that the number 1 receiver, Alshon Jeffery, strained a calf muscle during a recent training camp practice. Fox had made no mention of Jeffery's injured calf after the final practice opened to the media on Tuesday. The Bears held a closed walkthrough on Wednesday before traveling to Chicago for the preseason opener. Which I have no idea why it said before traveling. Whatever. Jeffery, who missed the Bears' 27-10 victory over the Miami Dolphins, is on crutches and wearing a walk boot on part of his body. This is what John Fox said, quote, "He did it in a practice before we came back to Chicago. He'll be day to day." Fox has said he's unsure if Jeffery will receive the necessary medical clearance to practice, saying, quote, "He'll be back because he has to get treatment, but I can't say when he'll be back on the practice field. I'll keep you posted." Of course, last season, Jeffery had a breakout year, caught 85 passes, 1,133 yards, and 10 touchdowns last season, becoming the 4th player in franchise history to have 1,000 yards in consecutive seasons. He also has 8 career 100-yard receiving games. But Jeffery isn't the only Bears receiver to be sidelined this summer. Rookie first-round draft pick Kevin White has been on the PUP list since the beginning of camp because of a shin injury. White jogged on the Soldier Field turf before the Dolphins game, but is still not running at full speed. And no date has been determined when he'll be ready to go. Washington Redskins tight end. Oh, this was the worst. If you guys watched the highlights, I'm sorry. Niles Paul will miss the rest of the 2015 season after dislocating his left ankle during Washington's preseason opener Thursday night. Head coach Jay Gruden said Paul was carted off the field during the first quarter of Washington's 20-17 win over the Cleveland Browns on Thursday night Before Paul was placed on the cart, trainers put on an air cast on his left leg. Paul was engaged in a block when his left leg was rolled by Cleveland linebacker Craig Robertson at the end of the run play to the right side. Paul's left leg rolled to the inside and immediately turned over and laid face down. The Redskins are in pretty bad shape at tight end right now with Paul, who is now out for the entire 2015 season. They have tight end Jerron Ham, who also left Thursday's game with a left thigh injury, and the team is already without backups in Jordan Reed with a hamstring injury and Logan Paulson with a toe injury. So who knows? And Paulson, who had saw a foot specialist earlier this week, was told that he might miss an extended amount of time. And then the Redskins also, I'm so sorry, Redskins fans, lost running back Silas Redd to a knee injury on Thursday's game. And Gruden said Reed has possible tears to his ACL and MCL. Reed, who was competing for the third-string job behind starter Alfred Morris and rookie Matt Jones, will undergo an MRI this morning, as NFL reported. It sucks, man. It truly does. And Redskins, they might bring back, who is the tight end? Oh, no, Chris Cooley. They might have to bring him back now. They're out of tight ends. New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady, who started the team's preseason or open preseasoner. Did I say that? I think I did. Preseason opener against the Green Bay Packers on Thursday night, playing the first two series and finishing 1 of 4 for 10 yards. Brady was on the field for 7 snaps before being relieved by Jimmy Garoppolo at the end of the first quarter. Patriots didn't score on either drive with Brady. Of course, Brady has been suspended for 4 games by the NFL after the league found that he was, quote, at least generally aware of rule violations surrounding the deflated footballs in January's AFC Championship game against the Indianapolis Colts. Brady and the NFL Players Association have filed a lawsuit to overturn the suspension, and attorneys for the NFLPA and the NFL were in court Thursday to continue settlement talks, which I believe is ridiculous. I think this is so stupid that this thing has gone legal action. There's so many things else to worry about. Brady, accept the 4-game suspension, get it over with, and be done with it. I'm not going to rant about it anymore. I've done it too much, but this is why I don't even bring it up on my show, because it's so stupid. This thing has gone legal and with judges and all this crap. It's like, just end it. You got a 4-game suspension. It could have been worse. It could have been an entire year, or 6 games, 8 games. It could have been a ton worse. I believe this was the perfect punishment. Maybe they should have lost more draft picks and got fined more money. But for what it was, this is it. Get over it. Be done with it. Brady was not available for comment after the game, nor has he been made available to the Patriots all season, by the Patriots all season. Now, we got a thing on Matt Forte. Chicago Bears running back Matt Forte responded to Brandon Marshall's comments about Jay Cutler by saying Marshall sometimes failed to hold himself accountable while a member of the Bears. Now, this is what he said on the Rich Eisen show, which I love, by the way. This is what he had to say about that.
Matt Forte, Bears running back, joining me here on the Rich Eisen show. Your former teammate, now at the Jets, Brandon Marshall, said that he was the only person in the Bears organization who had the quote-unquote huevos to hold Jay Cutler accountable last year. What do you think of when you hear that comment, Matt?
I hear a lot of animosity and a lot of just bad feelings. Just, coming from that relationship there. He was in Denver with Jay, and then he switched teams in, and then he came here, and things didn't work out. And when stuff doesn't work out, sometimes feelings are let out like that. And I don't think that's the case. That everybody was held accountable. I don't see how he could say that, because sometimes Brandon couldn't hold himself accountable.
So, pretty strong words right there, and I'm not gonna say I disagree. I mean, we don't know what happened in the locker room and stuff like that, but I mean, pretty strong words by Matt Forte and what he had to say. He did go on to say, which I couldn't get the audio for, saying, "quote I don't think that was the cause for everyone was held accountable last year. I don't see how he can say that. sometimes Brandon didn't hold himself accountable. Forte said that former head coach Mark Trestman's willingness to allow Marshall to make frequent in-season trips to New York to film showtimes inside the NFL became a source of friction to some in the organization. Also continuing to say, quote, I didn't have an issue with it as long as he got back in time or took care of his body and came to play every Sunday. I guess a lot of people had issues with that and thought his mind wasn't on football first. I think if a coach didn't like that, Marshall going to New York is what he was talking about, his best bet was to come out and say that and be able to express that to him. And at that point, I don't think it was really expressed to him to not do that or continue to do that. That's a tough call on that one. I don't think Mark Trestman held him accountable either on that aspect. So we had a lot of accountability issues going on last year. So he's not taking shots at him, but at the same time, he's saying, look, don't just attack Jay Cutler, the starting quarterback. Everybody needs to hold themselves accountable, and it didn't happen last season. Hence why you went 5-11 or whatever. I like that. He did say though Brandon Marshall did say after those comments about Jay Cutler and addressing those, he said he would not bring up the Chicago Bears again, saying he's all about New York Jets and that's all he's ever going to talk about. So it's going to be interesting to see if he replies via Twitter, social media, or an interview, because of course he's going to be asked about this, a ton, if he will address it or not and live up to his word. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Some news just came in. Chargers outside linebacker Tariq Williams broke his foot and will require surgery, according to the NFL Network. He had 21 tackles last season, so a loss for the Chargers. That sucks, but it's all right. We'll get another linebacker. No, it really does suck because he was pretty good. The Indianapolis Colts agreed to a contract extension with 4-year receiver T.Y. Hilton on Thursday. The deal is for 5 years and is worth $65 million, and $39 million of which is guaranteed. Hilton's $39 million guaranteed is nearly twice as much guaranteed money as any other player on the Colts roster. Quarterback Andrew Luck is second on the team in that category with $22.1 million. Quote, the Colts showed interest that they wanted me, and I also wanted to be here, Hilton said Thursday. There's no place I'd rather be than here. This organization is great. I love being here. I didn't want to go into the season with it on my mind. I'm ready to play, go to practice, and give it my all. Now, Hilton was part of a talented 2012 draft class by the Colts and is coming off his first Pro Bowl appearance after posting 82 receptions for 1,300 yards last season. But according to ESPN stats and information, he has 17 receptions of at least 40 yards since 2012. The third most in the NFL during that time span behind Deshaun Jackson and A.J. Green. And the rest of the Colts wide receivers have combined for 12 receptions of at least 40 yards since 2012. So obviously he is, the go-to receiver. But I just feel like this is too much money for him and for the player he is. Now, obviously the stats I just told you are really good. I mean, just behind Deshaun Jackson and behind A.J. Green, great receivers and all. But I feel like he can be very inconsistent at times. And again, I know 82 receptions, 1,300 yards, amazing. Absolutely amazing for the slot receiver and what the speedy guy he is. But sometimes when he's playing against those bigger teams, he doesn't always have the greatest games. So I don't know if I would give him $39 million guaranteed and, $65 million. To me, that's just too much. That's too much right now. We'll just have to see, and obviously Colts fans are going to disagree, and I understand that, but hopefully he proves me wrong next year. I'll probably get him on fantasy team. I don't know, but it's just, to me, I feel like it's just a little bit too much money. But it seems like every contract is just getting bigger and bigger now, so maybe it's the right amount. Kansas City Chiefs safety Eric Berry's comeback from lymphoma should hit another milestone Saturday night as head coach Andy Reid set the plan was for the defensive back to play in the Kansas City Chiefs preseason game against the Arizona Cardinals. Saying, quote, We're thinking he's going to play. We'll just see how things go from there. But he's going to be here, so I think he'll be ready to do his thing. Barry, of course, was diagnosed in November, but has made a dramatic recovery. And he was declared cancer-free by his doctors in June and was cleared to play by the Chiefs shortly before the start of training camp. The Chiefs held Barry from contact in early portions of camp, but have since lifted those restrictions. The level of his play has picked up, and he's had a number of interceptions in recent practice sessions. According to Andy Reid, this is what he had to say, saying, quote, "I told him I saw too much of him today because he had a couple interceptions out there. Listen, I'm as happy as I can be for him. He's like a little kid out here playing. He's having fun. He's appreciative of everything and everybody that has been with him through the whole ordeal. He's loving life right now, and that's important, and it shows on the field here too." So great news, huge news for Kansas City Chiefs and Eric Berry. I'm a huge fan of him. I was when he was at Tennessee and when he got drafted. Even though he plays for the rival Chiefs, I still like Eric Berry, and I truly do hope he can be the NFL Comeback Player of the Year and be, not because people feel bad for him and he's, he plays a few games here and there. No, I hope he has a breakout year, maybe 7 or 8 interceptions, 60, 70 tackles, a couple sacks. I hope he has a breakout year, even if that means, against my Chargers. I still hope he does, because he's a great player and everything he's gone through and how upbeat he's been the entire time. He deserves it. The Jets won't have quarterback Geno Smith, of course, for a while. What a crazy story that was, and possibly for the first 8 weeks of the season, if he's placed on short-term IR for the surgery to repair a jaw that was broken in 2 places. Without Geno Smith, they only have 2 other quarterbacks behind Ryan Fitzpatrick, with Bryce Petty and Jake Heaps. The New York Daily News reports that the Jets have reached out to Matt Flynn and that the team has discussed bringing in Flynn in for a visit. Now, Flynn was recently released by the Patriots after failing to pass a physical. Coach Bill Belichick has left the door open for bringing Flynn back if/when he is healthy. So we'll have to see. Matt Flynn, of course, the richest, worst quarterback in NFL right now, with the guaranteed deals he got in Seattle and Oakland. Unless he just blew it all, which I don't see him doing. I don't know. For Jets, I don't know what you do here. They're not bringing back Michael Vick. That's out. Ryan Fitzpatrick is very questionable. When he was with the Bills, he was pretty darn good. He really was. Bryce Petty, a rookie, don't really know. Jake Heaps, he's been everywhere. He played for almost all the college football teams. So I don't know about both of those guys, if they're ready to. I don't believe they're ready to take the next step. Bryce Petty's pass on one of them, he was like, Bryce Petty went for 10 for 18, but one of his passes was like garbage. It was just, I think it was his first pass too. So obviously they're not ready. Do you want to put all your chips on the table? Because you're saying this year isn't a building block year. You got all these guys there, but you got no quarterback now. What are you going to really do? So I don't know. Matt Flynn might be their best option. Johnny Manziel says he finds nothing special and nothing terrible in his preseason debut, and I was so excited when I heard Johnny Manziel did pretty well. Manziel was 7 for 11 and 42 yards and ran for a 12-yard touchdown. And that was the only scoring drive he had led the Browns as they punted on their other 4 possessions with Manziel, who said his elbow felt fine on the field and just made 1 first down outside the scoring drive. So, like he said, saying, quote, "I thought I was pretty good. Nothing special, nothing terrible, right there in the middle. We'll have to go back and look at the film. It's never as bad, never as good. For the first game, learn and move on." So, I don't really like his quotes, but, for what he did, solid job. Really was. And, some of those throws were like the old Manziel where it's just like, okay, you're kind of scrambling here a little bit, even though he did complete some. But also some of the passes, it looked like he couldn't see and just making a bad decision. So, Again, it's just the first game. Not going to judge him too crazy. Of course, I'm already biased towards him because I like Johnny Football. I love the money sign. That needs to come back. That has to come back. I know he said it's retired, but come week 6, 7, 8, and he's a starting quarterback, I better see some money signs because that's him. That's him. That's Johnny Manziel. That's Johnny Football. I know people see that as an ego thing, but that's his trademark thing. Aaron Rodgers got that fist pump type thing. Russell Wilson points to the sky. Or a lot of quarterbacks say that. But, everybody's got that thing. Johnny Manziel, it's the money sign, and I want to see that. Josh McCown, who is the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, was 5 for 5 with a touchdown in a short night of work, and neither quarterback's performance will cause the team to rethink the established order on the depth chart. But, it doesn't help Johnny Football that Josh McCown went 5 for 5 and a touchdown. But 7 for 11, 42 yards, and the running touchdown, for most people, if you haven't seen it, please watch it, because it wasn't like, he stood there, couldn't find anybody, and then he just ran. No, the defensive line literally went on both sides to the left and right, left a huge gap up in the middle. Nobody was there, and it was the smart decision. Every quarterback would have done it. Peyton Manning probably wouldn't be, but every quarterback, even Phillip, Tony, they would have ran it because it was a clear-cut touchdown. So it wasn't like Johnny Football was, trying to be all flashy and run it in. No, this was a perfect read. And that's not being biased, so go watch it for yourself if you haven't. But that is it for today's show. Tons of college football and NFL news, but it was exciting and amazing. And we got more tonight. I'm really excited. But here we go, guys. Here's the great news, the big news for the Short Sports Show. It is now also partnered with Spreadshirt. Spreadshirt.com is where you can create your own T-shirts and sell them online to your friends, family, and other people. The Short Sports Show is going to be on there. We're going to make a few T-shirt designs. We haven't started just yet. So the next show, I'll have the link in there, and hopefully we have at least 1 or 2 different designs of the Short Sports Show. So you can go buy on Spreadshirt.com. But I thought I'd tell everybody the news as I just learned a few days ago. So again, I'll put the link in. I tweet it out, so follow me on Twitter at @short_sports247. Become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. Links are all down in the description for my social media. Click on those frequently. Make sure you like, and share with your friends and family, so that way you can always get the news right there at the fingertips. And I'll put the link in there if I get it soon, which I do have it, but I want to wait until I actually get a shirt design. So hopefully this week I'm going to work crazy on. I'm not the most creative person. I have a cousin that is, so he's going to help me out, and we're going to get everything together to get those shirts out there. And you can get them in hoodies, shirts, hats, everything Spreadshirt has. They have everything. You guys can order them. Sadly, now they're not expensive, but they're not too cheap either, depending on what you buy. So I don't create the prices. I don't even know how much I even get. So I might get like $2 off a shirt. I don't know. But the cool thing is, and it's not about getting the money part because it's not going to be a lot, it's the fact that you guys are now able to wear the Short Sports Show shirts and apparel, or put stickers, hats, cups, whatever it is. It's huge. It's huge branding right there. So if you guys, once I get that link out there, I'll tell you more about it. I'll make a video on it. I'll tweet it, Facebook it, everything, Instagram it. It's going to be out there. So thank you guys so much. You guys are incredible. You really are, because without you guys listening and sharing and liking the show, I would just be talking into a mic and wasting my time. So again, thank you guys so very much for all the support that you guys have given me. And I'm excited for what the future holds. This show is continuing to grow week in, week out. Thank you guys again so very much. I can't say it enough. It means a ton to me. You guys are making my dream come true, and it's awesome. It's amazing. So thank you guys. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys next Friday. Next Friday morning we have a show, and I'll have another announcement then. So be on the lookout for that. I was going to say it now, but I thought I'd tease you guys and tell you what the huge announcement is. If you thought this was huge, this is even bigger. It's more interactive with the show, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be amazing. So, again, thank you guys. Be sure to like and share with your friends and family. Again, follow me on Twitter at @short_sports 24/7. All the links are down below. I will see you guys then. Thank you so much. And as always, God first, God bless. I'm out. Peace.